Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from YourBlackWorld.com. Yesterday, a lot of you saw the horrible tragedy that took place at an elementary school in Connecticut, where a deranged individual, to say the least, went into an elementary school and killed 20 children and 6 adults. And details are still emerging, but one of the things I noticed is that there are a lot of mothers and fathers as well, but a lot of parents around the country who are really saddened by what happened. A lot of emotion flying through our psyches. Children are asking their parents about this, and I was sort of curious about how this dynamic might work and ways that we can cope with this and what we're feeling. So the person I thought to go to is a psychologist that I respect, Dr. Christina Edmondson, who has appeared with Your Black World a few times, Essence Magazine and some other places. And I've got Dr. Edmondson on the line. How are you today, Dr. Edmondson?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Good. I called you this morning. I was rambling a little bit when I told you I wanted to talk to you because I'm feeling the way a lot of people are feeling. I don't know exactly how to feel. And I also don't know how to feel about how other people are feeling. So I said, I'm going to call Dr. Edmondson. Sometimes I call her Christina, but I want to show that respect. I said, I'm going to call Christina and ask her, what are your thoughts on this as a psychologist? You're also a mom of young children. What are you observing in terms of how we as a country are responding to this tragedy and how we're led and made to feel?
Yeah, I think my observations so far are that people are just flooding with pain. And so it's coming out in a variety of ways. I mean, some people are just running and grabbing their kids and just squeezing them, tighter, and that's one reaction. I think other people are thinking about some more long-standing political issues in the country that they feel like may have facilitated this terrible act. And so I think it's coming out because there's just so much pain. And oftentimes, when our pain is unchecked and it's raw like this, it will channel out of us in a variety of ways. I think for myself, I went to get my daughter earlier from elementary school yesterday after watching this on the news. And I know in our household we're monitoring the television, so our TV is off today, just because I imagine that every major network is going to have nonstop stories about this tragedy. And just as a parent, I need to provide a buffer for my child, that my kids are not overly exposed to this incident, because someone's going to have to explain it and going to have to clean it up. And it's a terrible thing that you just can't really clean up. And so my children are small, and so for older children, I think there's even more opportunity to talk about what happened. It gives us tons of life lessons about violence, about guns, about mental illness, about parenting, about relationships with parents and their children. I mean, there are so many things that are inside this story.
So you're also, in addition to being a psychologist and a mother, you also are a strong woman of faith. And some people have turned to their faith as a way to deal with this. And how do we even talk about God and in a way that makes sense in light of this kind of tragedy? And the reason I bring this up is because Mike Huckabee on Fox News today said that part of the reason that you have these incidents is because we've taken God out of the school. And that was obviously a heated thing for him to say. And then there are some people saying, yeah, he's right. And then there are some people saying, no, this was inappropriate. And so, how do we turn to our faith to kind of try to even begin to understand this?
Right. I mean, I would respectfully disagree with people who have a position that God is not in school. I don't know who their God is, but my God is sovereign, and he is wherever he chooses to be, and that's everywhere. And so my mother was a public school educator, and so when she came to her classroom, she came with the Spirit of God within her. And so even though we don't have a formalized curriculum promoting one particular religious tradition and style, it does not mean that there are not believers and spirit-filled people that are everywhere amongst us. So I think that those types of statements are just or ill-stated at this time. And also, I think it denies the pain and the suffering that people are having. Just to simply say, well, you know, if our kids prayed, we wouldn't have this issue in school. We need to weep with those who weep. There are people who are in pain right now, and the Christian response is to grieve with them. They're in pain, so we're in pain. And so instead of saying what we need to do about what the school system looks like, I don't think that's the correct or godly response to this particular situation. I actually thought about this morning, boys, because I was one of those folks that were flooded with tons of emotions. And for some strange reason, my mind went back to, I think, the Obama-Clinton campaign when they were going against each other, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. And I remember he got into tons of trouble for making this kind of caricature statement about people clinging to God and to guns. And this morning I thought, how hard would it be to try to simultaneously cling to your guns and to God at the same time? You can't. And I tend to, and I thought that even though that wasn't the intention of his statement, that played in my head this morning, and I thought, you know, you can't be a person of faith and see an atrocity like this and think the answer is for me to keep my guns and for me to have an unchecked, unlimited amount of weapons. That's just ridiculous. Because if it means that I give up something that belongs to me just because I have the right to have it, it doesn't mean that it's wise or loving or godly. So that's an example of my own flooding, is that I don't think you can cling to both of those things at the same time. And this is a perfect example of it when people who love God, they may have to make some sacrifices about their perception of safety and how they keep themselves safe.
Wow. Well, that's you've been really informative in spite of the fact that I haven't even asked you very good questions. I have to admit that. I think it's because I am feeling so emotional about this that I said, you know, I'm searching for something, but maybe someone can help me search for what I'm searching for. And you were a person that really came to mind. So the last quick question I want to ask you is this. You know, if you're a parent and you've got young children that have seen some of this, their friends are going to go to school and talk about this, how do you as a parent talk to your child about what happened in a way that's going to be productive and not traumatizing them? Because you can imagine so many kids are even afraid to go to school, mothers who are afraid to send their kids to school. I mean, how do you talk to your kids about this?
Yeah, the two things that come to mind just quickly that I believe that young children and adult children, for that matter, really crave. One of those is assurance from the parent, and one of those is stability from the parent. And so being able to send a message that promotes those two themes are going to be very helpful for a child in general, but specifically at times of sadness and uncertainty. And so conveying a message such as sometimes really sad and terrible things happen that they're outside of our control. And that sounds scary to you, doesn't it? And it sounds scary to me as well. But I know that as your parent, I'm going to do my very best to keep you safe. You have my assurance that I'll work my hardest. So parents can't make guarantees that we can fix every problem, but we can make a guarantee that we will do everything in our power to fix that problem for our child or to keep our child safe, and that we will be consistent, that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and on, our love, our attention, our commitment to them will not change. So that assurance and that stability are comforting to small children, but frankly, they're comforting to all of us. So I would send that message. I know I'm sending that message in my home, and I'm also cutting off the television because, like I mentioned, my children are very small, and I just don't think it's appropriate to expose them to those images right now.
Okay, stability and assurance. Well, you know, I feel more assured after talking to you, and you are a stable source of very good information. I know that sounded corny, but it is absolutely true. So thank you so much, Dr. Edmondson. I truly appreciate your time.
Thank you, boys. You have a great day.
You too. And thank you all for checking us out at yourblackworld.com. And until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. We are gone.